Have you ever wondered what doctors really think when they look at you, an older patient sitting across from them? Do they see you as someone still capable, still sharp, still valuable, or do they quietly assume your best years are behind you? It's an uncomfortable thought, isn't it? But let's be honest, if you've ever walked out of a doctor's office feeling rushed, dismissed, or like your concerns weren't really taken seriously, you've already felt the weight of this. And here's the hard truth, this isn't just about feelings. What a doctor believes about aging, whether they see you as strong or fragile, capable or fading, it actually shapes the care you receive. It affects the tests they order, the treatments they offer, and sometimes even the respect they give you in that little exam room. Think about it, if your pain gets brushed off as just part of getting older, what could that mean for your health? If your independence gets quietly questioned, how might that affect the choices others make for your life? This is why today's video matters. Because whether you're a senior yourself, or someone who loves and cares for an older parent, knowing the truth about what many doctors really think can make the difference between being ignored and being heard. Between losing independence and holding on to it with strength and dignity. So in this video, I'm going to reveal 5 uncomfortable truths about how doctors view older people. These are things most won't admit out loud. Some of them may shock you. Some might even sting a little. But once you hear them, you'll never look at a doctor's appointment the same way again. And more importantly, you'll be armed with the knowledge to stand up for yourself, to ask the right questions, and to protect your independence. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Do you think doctors treat seniors differently than younger patients? Drop a quick comment below, just a simple yes or no, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our community here at Elderly Wisdom Guide, because this is the place where we uncover the truths nobody else is willing to say out loud. And listen carefully, what I'm about to share today might surprise you. Because if you don't understand these hidden truths, it's not just your comfort that's at risk, it's your independence. That's why I always tell people, after watching, check out the 29 Days to Reclaim Your Confidence challenge in the description. Seniors everywhere are using it to rebuild strength, balance, and energy, and it's helping them avoid the exact struggles we're about to talk about. Don't wait until it's too late. Let's start with the first ugly truth. Doctors often assume decline is just normal aging. Picture this with me. Margaret, a 72-year-old grandmother who has always been sharp, active, and full of life, suddenly begins to feel constant fatigue. She struggles to stay awake during the day. Her memory starts slipping in small ways, forgetting where she put her keys, stumbling over words she never used to forget. Concerned, she goes to her doctor, hoping for answers. But instead of digging deeper, the doctor simply shrugs and says, "Well, that's just part of getting older." And Margaret goes home believing him. She tells herself it's normal, that this is just the way things go as the years pass. But months later, she learns the truth, it wasn't simply aging. It was an untreated thyroid issue, something that could have been managed, something that could have spared her months of exhaustion, worry, and confusion. Now think about that for a moment. How many seniors out there are living with treatable conditions, but they've been told, that's just old age? How many people suffer in silence, convinced nothing can be done, when in reality, their body is crying out for help? This is why it matters so deeply. Because not everything you feel as you grow older is just aging. Yes, the body changes with time. Joints stiffen, energy slows, and sleep patterns shift. But when something feels different, when it feels sudden or extreme, that's a sign. It could be a vitamin deficiency, a heart condition, a thyroid imbalance, or even the side effects of a medication. The problem is, too many families accept the first answer. They trust the doctor's quick dismissal, believing, well, they must be right. This is just the way it is now. And in doing so, they miss the opportunity to catch something early, something that might be fully treatable. So here's what you must remember, when you or someone you love hears those words, that's just part of getting older, don't stop there. Ask the question, what else could this be? Push for tests. Push for clarity. Or, if you have to, seek a second opinion. Because you know your body. You know when something feels wrong. And you deserve to be taken seriously. This is not about being difficult. It's about protecting your health and your dignity. Because too often, what's dismissed as just aging is really a sign that something deeper is happening. And that kind of dismissal isn't the only issue you need to watch out for. The second ugly truth cuts even deeper, because it has to do with how doctors sometimes decide who is, and who isn't, worth treating. Imagine this. You're sitting in the doctor's office, and after a series of tests, you're told you might need surgery. But instead of hearing about options, risks, or recovery, the doctor leans back and says, "Well, at your age, I'm not sure it's worth it." Just like that, your age becomes the deciding factor, not your health, not your determination, not your will to keep living fully. Now, let that sink in. That isn't just a medical judgment. It's an attitude about your value. And the sad reality is, it happens more often than most people think. When a doctor looks at an older patient, they sometimes see limitations instead of possibilities. They see risk instead of resilience. And in that moment, decisions are made that can quietly strip away opportunities for healing and hope. This matters because age bias doesn't just affect one conversation, it can change the entire path of care. Maybe you're not offered a certain treatment. Maybe you're discouraged from physical therapy. Maybe a life-changing surgery is brushed aside with the words, "It's not worth the risk." And while sometimes there are valid concerns, too often these decisions are rooted in assumptions, not facts. And here's where many seniors fall into the trap. They believe the first recommendation, trusting the doctor's authority without realizing there might be alternatives. They walk away thinking, "Well, if the doctor says it's not worth it, then I guess that's it for me." But what if there were other options? What if the same condition in a younger patient would be treated aggressively, with every possible chance to improve? That's why one question can change everything. The next time you're told something isn't worth pursuing, ask this: if I were 20 years younger, would you recommend something different? That single question forces the doctor to confront their own bias. It opens the door for a deeper conversation about what's really best for you, not just what's easiest for them. Because you are not just a number on a chart. You are a person with goals, with loved ones, with a life still worth living fully. And your age does not erase your value. But treatment decisions are only part of the problem. There's something else doctors often overlook, and this one is far more subtle. And that brings us to the third ugly truth. Doctors often spend less time listening to seniors. Picture this. John, 80 years old, walks into his appointment. He's been feeling short of breath, his joints ache more than usual, and lately, his sleep has been restless. These are real concerns, weighing on his mind. But as soon as he sits down, he notices something. The doctor is already glancing at the clock, typing quickly on the computer, barely making eye contact. John begins to explain his symptoms, but before he can finish, the doctor cuts him off, says, "That's normal for your age," and moves on. The entire appointment is over in minutes. And John leaves feeling invisible, unheard, and unsure if his concerns even mattered. Now think about how that feels. To wait weeks for an appointment, to gather the courage to share what's troubling you, only to feel brushed aside as though your worries are too small or too ordinary to deserve attention. For many seniors, this is not a rare moment, it's a familiar pattern. And here's why this matters so much. When doctors rush through appointments, they miss things. They miss the subtle clues that something deeper is going on. They overlook the detail that could point to heart issues, or lung problems, or medication side effects. They dismiss the very words that could help them uncover what's really happening in your body. And that lack of listening can lead to real consequences, delayed diagnoses, untreated conditions, and a growing sense of isolation for seniors who feel no one is really hearing them. The mistake many seniors make in these situations is believing this is just the way it is now, that quick visits are normal, that they don't have the right to take up more time, or that their voice doesn't carry as much weight as it used to. They sit quietly, accept what little time they're given, and leave with questions still unanswered. But here's the truth, your voice does matter, and your time is worth protecting. One simple step can make a world of difference. Before you go to your appointment, write down your top 3 concerns, the 3 things you absolutely need to discuss. Keep it clear and focused. And once you're in the room, don't leave until those 3 points have been addressed. Even if the doctor tries to move quickly, you can gently say, "Before we finish, I need to make sure we talk about these." It's not being difficult. It's taking control of your care. Because when you walk out of that office, you deserve peace of mind, not lingering doubts. You deserve answers, not assumptions. Now, if your time isn't respected, imagine what happens when your independence is quietly questioned. And that takes us to the 4th ugly truth. Doctors quietly assume you're losing independence. Let me share a story. Linda, a 76-year-old mother, still drives to the grocery store every week. She cooks her own meals, tends her garden, and even helps babysit her grandchildren from time to time. She's slower than she used to be, yes, but she's still capable and living life on her own terms. One day at a checkup, her daughter asks a simple question about medications, and the doctor turns to her and says, "Maybe it's time to start thinking about a nursing home." Think about that for a second. Without asking Linda how she manages her day. Without exploring her routines or her strengths. Without even listening to her voice in the matter. Just a quick assumption that because of her age, she must be on the verge of losing independence. And here's why this matters so deeply. Independence is not just about what you can or can't do physically, it's about dignity, confidence, and the freedom to live life in your own way. When a doctor underestimates your ability, it doesn't just shape medical advice, it plants a seed of doubt in the minds of your family. Suddenly, conversations about care shift from, "How can we support mom?" to, "Maybe mom can't handle things anymore." That assumption, left unchallenged, can quietly strip away years of freedom that you've worked hard to maintain. The mistake many families make is accepting this kind of suggestion too quickly. Out of fear, or love, or simple trust in the doctor's word, they move too soon toward decisions that take independence away. And while safety is always important, what often gets lost is the fact that many seniors are still perfectly capable, with just a little support, not a total takeover. So here's a powerful tip. Don't let assumptions define your independence. Document what you do every day. Write down how you manage meals, errands, chores, even hobbies. And when a doctor starts to question whether you can live on your own, bring that proof into the conversation. Show them your daily life in black and white. It shifts the focus from assumption to reality. Because the truth is, independence doesn't disappear just because the calendar flips another year. Many older adults continue to thrive, adapt, and live full lives well into their 80s and 90s. And that deserves recognition, not dismissal. But this brings us to the final, and perhaps the most uncomfortable truth of all. It's something seniors rarely hear spoken out loud, and it has the power to either crush hope or ignite it. Let's face it together. Some doctors believe seniors won't change. George, a 75-year-old retiree, once sat in front of his doctor and asked if it was worth starting an exercise routine. He'd been feeling stiff, his energy low, and he hoped a little movement might help. The doctor looked him straight in the eye and said, "There's no point in starting exercise now, it won't make a difference." Now imagine hearing that. Imagine being told it's too late, that your efforts won't matter, that the best you can do is simply accept decline. Many people in George's position would have walked out of that office defeated, carrying the weight of those words. But George didn't. He ignored the advice. He joined a walking group in his neighborhood, starting with just 10 minutes a day. Slowly, step by step, his stamina grew. His legs felt stronger. His balance improved. And within a few months, George was feeling a surge of energy he hadn't felt in years. This is why this truth matters so much. When a doctor assumes that seniors won't change, they're not just dismissing a treatment plan, they're robbing people of hope. They're taking away the spark that motivates someone to try, to keep moving, to keep growing even in their later years. And that mindset doesn't just live in the doctor's office. Too often, seniors carry it themselves. They hear "it's too late" and believe it. They think improvement is for younger people, not for them. And that belief quietly steals opportunities for a better life. But here's the reality: change is always possible. Small changes can add up to life-changing results, no matter your age. A daily walk around the block. Light strength training with simple weights or even just your own body weight. Choosing more balanced meals with fresh fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins. These aren't grand, overwhelming steps, they're simple, steady habits that transform the way your body feels and moves. It's never about becoming who you were at 40. It's about reclaiming strength, energy, and confidence right where you are now. Because even at 70, 80, or 90, your body responds to care. It responds to movement. It responds to good food and good choices. The mistake is believing that the effort isn't worth it, when in truth, the effort is exactly what keeps you living fully. And that's exactly why I created the 29 Days to Reclaim Your Confidence Challenge, because lasting change is possible at any age. In less than 10 minutes a day, you can build strength, balance, and energy in ways that protect your independence and dignity. Seniors everywhere are already proving that it's never too late. And so can you. Hearing that doctors may not see you the way you deserve can be painful. It can stir frustration, disappointment, even sadness. But now you know, and knowledge is power. What once was hidden, what once felt like an unspoken truth, is now in front of you. And with that awareness, you are no longer powerless. Instead of feeling invisible, think of this as your wake-up call. A reminder that you are not a passive participant in your own health journey. You are the decision maker. You have the right to ask questions, to push back, to expect more than quick dismissals and half answers. You can demand respect, and more importantly, you can live with strength and dignity, no matter your age. Every time you speak up, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Every time you insist on a second opinion, you send a message that your life matters, that your health matters, that your years are still full of value and meaning. This isn't just about surviving longer, it's about living better, fuller, stronger, and on your own terms. So if you've noticed any of these attitudes in your own doctor's office, don't brush them off. Don't assume it's just the way things are. Ask questions. Seek another opinion. Advocate for yourself, or have a loved one speak on your behalf. Most of all, never give up on yourself. Because your story isn't finished yet. There are still chapters to be written, moments to be lived, and joys to be discovered. And here's the good news: you don't have to face these challenges alone. That's why I created the 29 Days to Reclaim Your Confidence Challenge. It's not about overwhelming changes or impossible routines. It's about small wins, every single day. Each step is designed to rebuild your energy, restore your strength, and bring back your peace of mind. Imagine finishing each day knowing you've invested in yourself, not just for today, but for the life you want to keep living tomorrow. Because no matter what anyone says, you are capable of more than they expect. And when you start proving that to yourself, everything changes. Let's pause for just a moment and recap what we've uncovered together today. The 5 ugly truths are these: doctors often dismiss symptoms as nothing more than normal aging. Sometimes they quietly see seniors as less worth treating. Too often, they spend less time listening, leaving your concerns brushed aside. Many assume you're losing independence before you actually are. And perhaps most damaging of all, they believe you can't change or improve, that your best days are behind you. But now, You know better. You've pulled back the curtain, and with that awareness, you have the power to push back, to advocate for yourself, and to demand a life filled with dignity, vitality, and choice. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these truths have you personally faced? Did a doctor once dismiss your pain, or assume you couldn't handle a certain treatment? Share your story in the comments below, because your words could be the very thing that helps another senior feel less alone, less dismissed, and more ready to fight for themselves. And if you found this video eye-opening, if it stirred something inside you, take a moment to like and subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. This channel is where we reveal the truths about aging and health that no one else will tell you, because your voice, your life, and your story still matter deeply. But let me leave you with this warning: don't just click away and forget this. Every day you wait is another day your body quietly loses strength, balance, and confidence. Time will not wait for you. The longer you hesitate, the harder it becomes to rebuild. That's exactly why I created the 29 Days to Reclaim Your Confidence Challenge, because you deserve to start today, not someday. So click the link in the description, join us, and take your first step toward feeling strong, capable, and alive again. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, you are not invisible, you are not powerless, and you are not done. Stay strong, stay wise, and hold on to this truth: aging doesn't mean giving up. I'll see you in the next video.